Hey friends, this is Goalie TV. Glad to have you aboard here this morning as we get fired up to talk a little bit about last night and a little bit about the trend that's happened here this season for the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers have gotten by with Stuart Skinner and Cal Pickard pretty well so far this year, obviously being a top three team in the NHL for the last few weeks now. But there is one troubling trend that we've seen emerge specifically in the past two games, but throughout the season that kind of leads to a frustration point if you are an Edmonton Oilers fan. So stay tuned, buckle up. We'll get to that in a matter of moments. But if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Love to have you aboard as a regular viewer on the channel. And it's free to do, easy to do, so why not, right? That's my pitch to you. That's my little sales pitch. But let's get to it, friends. What do we know about the Oilers? Well, if you watch that Leafs game, if you watch that Detroit game, yeah, the goaltending for the other team was pretty dang good. But again, the Oilers also have had a massive problem with shooting and scoring. And you know what? Okay, fine. Yeah, you got robbed in the last 3 seconds of the hockey game, and that's it. But that's 1 out of 48 shots last night, right? This isn't an instance where the Oilers definitely, only had 20 shots and Joseph Wall allowed 0 goals on 20 shots and every single save looked like that. No, that's not what happened. What has happened for the Oilers this year is, as expected possibly with some of our players from the year previous, shooting percentages did shrink down, but they're sitting currently as a team at 10.11%, which ranks 23rd in the NHL. So the Oilers have this top caliber offense in the NHL this year, ranking 23rd in shooting percentage. So, yeah, you know what? The Oilers' save percentage then ranks 14th. So everybody is so amped, especially when you lose back-to-back games when Skinner's in net, to blame Stuart Skinner. It's all his fault. If he was just the other goalie, we'd be so much better. Again, we're talking about a Toronto Maple Leafs goaltender and a Detroit Red Wings backup. If you guys think those are the kind of guys that are going to solve our problems here, give your head a shake, because I've sat there with Leafs fans, I've sat there with Red Wings fans over this past weekend, and guess what? They're both saying, man, our goalie decided to have a night. Not our goalie is elite, you stand no chance. It's just, wow, our goalie decided to have a night. And Stuart Skinner, to his credit, has his nights as well. So the way Mark Spector puts that for you, the goaltending can always be better, right? That I think is the point in putting of my video yesterday with the line shuffling. Enough. Just set it and forget it, and it can be better game in, game out if the guys get time to gel. While the goaltending, it can also always be better. It is not, however, always the problem, and that's the thing. Last night, the Oilers did play to a 4-4 score late in the third period. That said, John Klingberg offside by a foot and a half ends up costing the Oilers their fourth goal, and it comes back on review. Okay, so all of a sudden, that fourth goal stands up. Maybe we're not talking about Joseph Wall being this all-world goalie because we have such fragile egos as Edmonton Oilers fans sometimes about our goaltending. So that's where I would say I think Mark Spector throwing this shooting percentage stat out really hits home about why the Oilers didn't get the job done last night. I mean, you have 48 shots on net as a team that has Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman in the bunch. And just for fun here, I'll tell you who all had shots for the Oilers tonight, right? Evan Bouchard had 8 shots, 1 goal. We know for a fact Bouchard has had a very rough season scoring the puck from the point. He did score last night, really redeemed himself from what was a rougher first period. And then Leon Draisaitl, 6 shots. He did score a goal, but it obviously didn't count. And then you've got some other guys, maybe a Connor McDavid, 9 shots, no goals, right? Like, this is where the problem lies, is your top guys are just coming up empty shooting the puck. So it's either learn to pass and distribute, which the Oilers are guilty of all the time as well, and they're overpassing and not coming up with results either, or just start taking better shots. I really don't know what the recipe is, because, again, if you're going to talk about, well, every other team goaltender is so much better, that doesn't track. The Oilers are in top 50% of the league save percentage, and what doesn't track is the Oilers are shooting bottom, well, pretty much almost bottom fourth, right? Like, you're shooting in the bottom 25%, you're kind of in the bottom middle 25%, but it's just Come on, guys. Like we watched, if you watched the game last night, you were shaking your head just as much as I was at times about the Oilers. What are you doing? Why are you shooting from there? What are you trying to achieve? Just again, work a little harder, get to the dirty areas, and score the goals. And yes, you know what? Some of the pucks in the dirty areas were going wide last night, but that's again, if a puck goes wide in the dirty area early on, it's not an excuse to go missing the dirty area the rest of the game, right? So that's where I think the frustration should lie. It shouldn't be a goaltending issue. I know some people are so amped to talk about some of the other stuff I've talked about after Skinner loses two in a row, but I'll tell you, the Oilers have good enough goaltending. That's not the problem. It's just again, you gotta kind of be the complete package if you want to go into the playoffs. And doing what the Oilers are doing, piling up all these shots and not scoring, is kind of the issue. And you know what? Honestly, if Skinner only faced, I don't know, 15 shots last night and gave up 4 goals, sure, I'm ready to blame him for losing us the hockey game. But again, Stuart Skinner faced 28 shots last night. It's not like he's got a sub 800 save percentage or anything. 857 in a 4-3 hockey game against the Leafs gave us a chance. Sorry, that is actually accurate because the Oilers did tie the hockey game. If you missed that point a few moments ago, the Oilers tied the hockey game just offside. So what I think, two things that definitely come out of my brain for this game is you sit there and you look at, for the Oilers, you just need to start better shot selection, get a little bit more grimier with your shots. And then as well, you look at where the Leafs scored all their goals from, right? There's what, 2 or 3 right in front of the net. So get on with that. And then you look as well for the Oilers, you look at the situation where you were missing Matthias Ekholm, something fierce. And that is why I don't think everyone was so ready to kick Bouchard out of town, kick him. If Klingberg's the second coming of Bouchard, we'll be fine. Sorry, that's not the case. And even if he gets up to speed by the end of the year, that still won't be the case. You need to still acquire a top 4 D-man. Because if you're missing Matthias Ekholm, you need somebody that can shoulder that load out there as well. And I mean, Darnell Nurse did a job, I guess, and so too did Brett Kulak and Evan Bouchard. But again, if you're rounding it out with John Klingberg as that quote-unquote 4th guy when you're missing Matthias Ekholm, we are not going to have the success we need to have in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So keep that in mind right now, friends. It's kind of a work in progress for the Oilers, and I really like this, right? Just use this even more in metaphorical terms. Things can always be better, but it's not always the problem when they're not. So that's kind of the problem here for the Oilers today. Is goaltending is going to take the brunt force of Oilers fan anger every single time. But the Oilers definitely had a lot more problems, a lot of other problems in their game last night outside of Stuart Skinner. And if you gloss over that, you're glossing over the problem that's kind of existed throughout the year when the Oilers lose games that they shouldn't have. Friends, for right now though, I am up on out of here.